Another weapon added to the arsenal in cyber warfare. Russian experts have discovered a massive virus infecting systems in Iran and other countries. The size and sophistication of the virus, dubbed Flame, leads experts to believe that this is a state-sponsored attack. The virus appears to be able to collect huge amounts of secret information, and what's creepy is how this can happen. Flame activates your webcam and microphone to spy on the infected computer. And that's not all. It can secretly record conversations that occur either over Skype or in the computers in your vicinity, record your keystrokes to figure out what you're typing, scan all the traffic on an infected machine's local network, and collect usernames and password hashes that are transmitted across the network. So in short, it can literally control your computer and make it spy on you. At this point, it's unclear exactly what country is behind the cyber attack. It's believed to have been operating since August of 2010. The nature of the attack has led experts to rule out hacktivists or cyber criminals. And of course, cyber fears have been ramped up recently, the fears being used as justification for controversial bills like CISPA. But does the legislation target the wrong people? And are they too focused on citizens rather than foreign threats, which, as the latest attack suggests, is the real threat? To discuss this is Aaron Schwartz. He's the founder and executive director of Demand Progress. Welcome, Aaron. Good to have you back on the show here. So what is the significance of this cyber attack?
Well, I mean, I think it's fascinating to see this sort of thing happen in practice. But, you know, we shouldn't get too excited. This isn't cyber warfare in the sense that critical infrastructure is being taken down. What we're seeing here is more like cyber espionage, where, you know, just like spies used to in olden days put microphones and tap what people were saying, now they're using computers to do the same things.
Now, at this point, the big question is who can be behind this cyber attack, and what is the possible motive?
Yeah, I mean, well, as analysts have said, this seems like a pretty sophisticated piece of technology, which suggests someone, you know, with a great deal of resources, probably a foreign government, spent time putting this together. But, you know, one of the things is it's hard to trace these sorts of things. Nobody's found sort of fingerprints or any kind of smoking gun. All we can do is speculate.
And I have a feeling countries all over the world, that's exactly what they're doing right now, is speculating and trying to figure out who is behind this. The Russian security firm Kaspersky Lab, they are the ones that found out about this. And here is the head talking about why he believes this is a state attack and not the job of a cyber criminal or a hacktivist. Take a listen.
We suspect that there is a nation state behind the development of this cyber attack. And there are reasons for that. This application doesn't fit into any of existing groups that develop cyber attack tools. And we try not to speculate who might be interested in such attacks. We try to base on pure facts we extract from the code, like maybe language characteristics. And in this case, we found only traces of good English used inside of that application.
Now, that was out of Kaspersky Lab. That is a Russian company. What's likely to happen now as a result of this? How can we expect the targeted countries to react?
Well, it's tough because, you know, unlike an act of war, it's not clear who the perpetrator is, and so it's hard to fight back. You know, again, it's more like espionage, where I think what we'll see is sort of an escalation of these quiet activities. You know, if one country is going and spying on people, other countries will feel that they have to retaliate by upping their spy programs. And so we're going to just see sort of an arms race of espionage.
It's interesting that you call it an arms race, because a lot of people are saying, well, this is the warfare of the future. And is this just further evidence that cyber warfare is very real, and is the new threat?
You know, I mean, I think, again, we should put this in context, right? Google, Facebook, all of these companies are already watching all our emails. They already have enormous amounts of private data about all of us. You know, this is not like a warfare attack in the sense no cities have been destroyed, no houses have been demolished, no hospitals have been bombed. What this is, you know, probably one country getting a whole bunch of data about, you know, government officials in another country. And yeah, you know, if you're that country that they're spying on, it's a little scary and a little frustrating, but it's not an excuse for locking down the entire internet the way some people will want to use it.
Okay, so it sounds like you think that this could be blown out of proportion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very easy for these things to get blown out of proportion. And I think there's a huge military-industrial complex that has an incentive on doing that. Every time they can say, oh, this is another instance of cyber war, the cyber criminals are attacking us again, we're all in danger, we're all under threat. They use those as excuses to push through more and more dangerous laws, which, like we've seen with CISPA being voted on this week, could, threaten all of our privacy.
And that's exactly it. U.S. lawmakers are taking notice, zeroing in on the dangers of cyber attacks, and it's paved the way for bills like CISPA. But critics, like you, say it can infringe on the rights of everyday citizens and on our internet freedoms. So would you say that bills like CISPA maybe are targeting the wrong people? In this situation, we're seeing that this is a state-run attack and not a hacktivist and not a cyber criminal. So is CISPA targeting the right people?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very common tradition, right? Attacks come from one source, and that's used as an excuse to crack down on the general population for all sorts of reasons. And I think we're saying the same thing here. I've said before on this program that the right way to respond to threats like these is to invest more in making everyone's computers more secure. Instead, what the government is pushing is a plan where they get to spy on everyone, and those kinds of spying programs make us all less secure. It's totally the wrong solution.
So, but do you think now that this will be used as a justification to support bills like CISPA, and ramp up support for it and say, hey, we need to do everything in our power in the name of preserving cybersecurity?
Yeah, as I said, the debate about CISPA is going on this week. I'm sure there will be some senator on the floor who, read half an article about this and will be able to use this as an excuse of why we need to pass this bill now. And they'll be able to use it because right now very few details are available. Nobody really knows the full story, and so it's easy to blow it out of proportion.
Now, this newest virus, it's called Flame. It's a lot more powerful than a virus that was launched against or used against Iran just a couple of years ago. And so if this can be done today, one can only imagine how far cyber attacks can go in the near future.
Yeah, there's no question that these things are getting increasingly sophisticated, and they're also going to get cheaper and easier to spread. Right now, the reason we speculate this as a government is because a lot of the technologies involved are pretty sophisticated. They're not in common use. But, the way of technology is that things that are pretty sophisticated, not in common use, pretty quickly get spread to everyone within a few years. There's no reason to think that won't happen here. Which is why, if we want to protect against these, it's so critical that we invest in making everyone's computers more secure, rather than continuing to let these vulnerabilities hang out there and keep everyone exposed.
All right, Aaron, very interesting. Thank you very much for coming on the show. That was Aaron Schwartz. He is the founder and executive director of Demand Progress.